2.1 Amp. The amp effect. Note: the amp effect is not available in the intro, light and standard editions. Amp is an effect that emulates the sound and character of 7 classic guitar amplifiers. Developed in collaboration with SoftHub, Amp uses physical modeling technology to provide a range of authentic and usable amplifier tones, with a simple and consistent set of controls. There are 7 amp models to choose from. Clean is based on the brilliant channel of a classic amp from the single quote 60s. This amp was widely used by guitarists of the British Invasion. Boost is based on the tremolo channel of the same amp, and is great for edgy rock riffs. Blues is based on a single quote 70s era guitar amp with a bright character. This classic amp is popular with country, rock and blues guitarists. Rock is modeled after a classic 45-watt amp from the single quote 60s. This is perhaps the best-known rock amp of all time. Lead is based on the modern channel of a high-gain amp popular with metal guitarists. Heavy is based on the vintage channel of the same amp and is also ideal for metal and grunge sounds. Bass is modeled after a rare par from the single quote 70s, which has become popular with bass players due to its strong low end and fuzz at high volumes. Although the real-world versions of these amplifiers all have unique parameters, Live's amp effect uses the same set of controls for each model. This makes it very easy to quickly change the overall character of your sound without having to make numerous adjustments. Gain adjusts the level of input to the preamplifier, while volume adjusts the output stage of the power amplifier. Although gain and volume work together to determine amp's overall level, gain is the primary control for the distortion amount. Higher gain settings result in a more distorted sound. When using the blues, heavy and bass models, high volume levels can also add considerable distortion. The bass, middle and treble knobs are EQ controls that adjust the timbre of the sound. As on a real-world amplifier, amp's EQ parameters interact with each other, and with the rest of amp's parameters, in non-linear and sometimes unpredictable ways. For example, increasing EQ levels can, in some cases, also increase the amount of distortion. Presence is an additional tone control for mid-high frequencies in the power amp stage. Its influence on the sound varies considerably depending on the amp model used, but can add or subtract edge or crispness. The output switch toggles between mono and stereo dual processing. Note that in dual mode, amp uses twice as much CPU. The dry-wet control adjusts the balance between the processed and dry signals. 2.1.1 Amp tips. Because amp is modeled on real-world analog devices, its behavior can sometimes be difficult to predict. Here are some tips on getting the most out of amp. Amps and cabinets. Guitar amps are designed to be used with accompanying speaker cabinets. For this reason, amp comes with a companion effect called cabinet, page 342, which is designed to be used after amp in a device chain. If you're looking for authenticity, we recommend this signal flow. But you can also achieve interesting and exotic sounds by using amp and cabinet independently. Electricity. The various circuits in guitar amps work with a continuous and fixed amount of electricity. For this reason, turning up a particular parameter may inadvertently decrease the amount of available energy somewhere else in the amp. This is particularly noticeable in the EQ controls. For example, turning up treble can reduce the level of bass and mid-range frequencies. You may find that you need to carefully adjust a number of seemingly unrelated parameters to get the results you want. More than guitars. While amp and cabinet sound great with guitars, you can get very interesting results by feeding them with drums, synthesizers or other sound sources. For example, try using amp with operator, page 466, or analog, page 435, to add analog grit to your digital sounds. 20